Well, hello people, and welcome back to episode 21 of Yoakley, our vanilla Cities 2 build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today's episode is sponsored by Paradox Interactive as we use the brand new Bridges and Ports DLC to rebuild Yoakley's current vanilla port. With the Bridges and Ports DLC, we're going to be getting brand new modular ports, industrial fishing, offshore oil farming, piers, more keys, a whole wave of new lift and drawbridges, combination bridges, the introduction of passenger ferries to the public transport economy, and of course new parks, restaurants and signature buildings and all the stuff you would expect with a major DLC, including 5 new maps, for which there will be a tier list up on the channel if you're interested in that as well. Bridges and Ports releases on the 29th of October. You can find a link to the Steam store down below. Otherwise, let's rebuild Yoakley's port with this new modular port DLC, shall we? So, first of all, we need to remove the old port, which gives us a very naked shoreline again. So, first of all, I want to do quite a bit of terraforming here to really chisel out the shape of our new port. So, let's come into our terrain brush, and got quite a lot of space to work with here. So, I think we'll make it all level up to this particular layer. Some big holes in the ground there for some reason. This is where a square brush would really come in nicely, you know. But maybe one day. So, let's push this out. I just want to start creating these little fingers of land, if you like, to hold some port infrastructure. Cool. So I'm happy with something like this. Now in terms of what we put around the waterways, we could go for one of the new keys. Let's just take a little peek at some textures here. So this key is ribbed for our pleasure, isn't it? Quite industrial looking. It is however pedestrianised, which I'm not really sure if I want in the port. And there is some port roads, which we could use, of course. In here, we do have an option for port key, which features 2-lane road with sidewalks, made of concrete with a dense rib pattern. And it will also support reacher stack traffic as well. Plus the placement of container cranes and passenger terminals. Which sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? So we'll go with this one. So we'll snap to shoreline, really. And we're doing the keys first because with the key placement, currently, as of yet, there is still no node manipulation for vanilla. Something I desperately hope comes. So just keeping everything to 90 degrees and 0% gradient as much as I can. A road guideline snap will actually be useful in this particular instance. And then here I want to change the shape of the key a little bit, so I just prepared a bit of an angle. So we'll respect that as well where we can. Now with that key front in, we can see they're just ever so slightly elevated by literally a contour line. So I'm just going to spread the whole port out to that single layer. So even back at the beginning of the port now, there's kind of like 2 or 3 contour lines here. So even though we won't be able to tell it yet, the port will be ever so slightly elevated above the rest of the industrial area, which I think will make it stand just a tiny bit more prominently. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how that detail pans out. But here, now we have our port in. We can dive into one of 3 port gates, which is how we really construct our ports. I'm going to go for the medium one, I think, here. They're all varying different shapes, configurations, and sizes. Some more impressive than others. But it really depends what sort of port you want to build. So I'm going to go with the medium port. We'll save the large port, I think, for a port that is bigger than Yoakley's, because Yoakley's not an enormous city. So we'll save that one for another time. But today we'll get stuck into medium port. So we're going to have our road entrance aligned with the road that comes under the train station. So in terms of my positioning, I'm looking to bring the bottom of the arrowhead in the middle of the last tile, and then roughly center the arrow in the middle of the road. Is how I'm just positioning that there. Then we have some new port gate roads, which of course are these networks as part of the port gate, and we can see they're one way here. So from our divided road, we'll snap up and in. which is 36.3 meters. Hopefully we can easily replicate that on this side here. And then we'll draw that one down into there as well. So this is how everyone's going to come and enter our port, right? Very nice. So let's hook them, of course, into the networks first. We'll carry on using those port roads. We will use directionality occasionally. But often with my ports, I tend to take them one way all the time. So with these new port roads in, we'll try to do something perhaps a little different. So we'll hook that one in there. Then in terms of where people can exit, I think I'll probably feed a road straight across from here. Keeping it one directional again. But I suppose actually no, maybe we can afford to make that one 2. I think we probably will actually. And then with this one, we'll come in with a straight road first. 180 degrees from the gate. And then twizzle that around. And I think that's how we'll allow people in and out of the port here. So there was some other connecting roads here, but we'll reform all this today to suit what's new. And speaking of what's new, let's bring in some of our new upgrades. So this functions very much kind of like a CS1 DLC. It's like, you know, the original port building is now expanding into its modular format, kind of like universities did with Campus and the Industries DLC did with, you know, the base game industry stuff. And all of this resides within the upgrade menu of your port office. So let's bring in a customs office. We'll place that in here. And then we also have a small cargo warehouse. Container cranes, of course, are a key visual. In terms of where we want to place our container cranes, I think I'll go for 2 per segment, giving us a total of 4. So we'll have one there. They're quite sensitive to in-water placement. And then we'll have one on the side. Can we also squeeze this one on as well? Wood. Let's see if we can line it up mostly with the one on the other side. That should do us. Maybe get that one a bit more centrally than if we're not going to line them all up on the same front. Which is fine. I'm happy to experiment with different container cranes. So this bit of the DLC is absolutely just incredible, isn't it? The proper modular ports. This has been like just such a wanted addition. I really enjoyed the... people are going to make some crazy stuff with this, right? Palms time? What's Palms time going to do with this pack? Imagine. Goodness me. It's really fun. Let's also add in our small cargo warehouse, which is a small cargo warehouse where cargo trucks from the sea will deliver and collect resources. So we'll have a few of these. We'll come down to our port road. And let's actually throw in a bit of asymmetry here as well. Come down the middle. At 90 degrees as much as possible. I do enjoy my grid formation, if you like, in any port build. And then we'll tuck another one just in behind it as well. Cool. So already this chunky port starting to form. And of course we can stick other service assets in here. I know Yoakley doesn't need any power. But we did delete a water station, didn't we? So maybe we can look at accommodating Japanese water treatment plant maybe in here too. Let's pop this. Oh, you very nearly go in the corner, don't you? I think I'll put you there. But again, service assets more than welcome in your modular ports as well, right? Now on to the next best thing in the world. The placeable small cargo container yards. I've wanted these in the game for so long. Avanya made an incredible collection of these on CS1. And they're essentially functioning as shipping containers that you can plop. And they function as storage and as part of your port. An incredible addition to the industrial visual of industrial builds for cities skylines, because they're just so important, aren't they? Just that view of stacked containers. And this is fantastic, and of course it's CS2, so our services are going to work to map out concrete space. Personally in a port, I do enjoy to kind of remove a lot of the grass, unless it's more of an overgrown kind of unkept area, if you like. That's just brilliant, isn't it? There's so much fun to be had. Do that again. Let's have one here. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is actually just going to stagger these. I'm going to push that over. Cool. So the port already has an absolute ton of import and storage facility now, doesn't it? Speaking of the imports, let's get those seaways connected back up. And of course, each container crane comes with its own stop. So we can add these in at will. Because we named these, didn't we? These are going to Orchid Bay and Novaria, of course. Novaria may be my favourite port we've ever done. So if you're interested in more egg videos, go and watch the Novaria port build. One of my favourite ones, that. Fantastic. So they're going to start coming and going. And we also had offshore oil added with this DLC as well. However, I don't have any oil offshore. So can't do it on this map. All my oil is over here. I might be able to get away with it a little bit here, but I can't imagine it's going to do a lot of good. But we will use that at some point. Fishing has also been added as well. Let's have a little look at some fishing harbours, shall we? And I think for the fishing wharf section of the port, I'm going to end this road here a little sooner than I was wanting to. And then cut the land off here to accommodate the boats coming in and around. And of course, bridges and ports does also come with bridges. There are lots of new ones. And this one is a contender. I think I will replace the bridge in Yoakley. But this one's very impressive. It is stacked. It doesn't come with the train bridge. I think it's why I'm gravitated toward this one. I'd have to separate the train line out. But just double stacked one-way roads is really selling me. Really selling me. I love that bridge. So we'll draw our port road back out here now. To hold this key. We do still have some lingering networks around here, and a little bit of flooding, which will not go away. We'll have to terraform away that flooding, but as long as we can find a nice happy spot. 0% there. Might even stick a little... I don't think I want this road here anymore, you know. I'm going to reform what happens here. Probably flooding by the looks of it. But I think I'll just stick a little cul-de-sac on the end of the port here. Oh, it doesn't like it because it's flooded on the land side, isn't it? If you do get this happening, because it does happen quite a lot when you're messing about with the water, you just want to grab a couple of contour lines up. It doesn't have to be very deep at all. Or you can just set it on the target height as well. And then just terraform it. And it will go away. Do like the idea of kind of bulbing out the corners with a cul-de-sac. I wonder how that looks everywhere else. Guess it'd also be here as well. I think I can do that. I think that'll give us some slightly different things to work with there. I'm quite happy with that. Wonderful, here come the first ships and the first reach stackers. Amazing. So what, let me give you the proper aesthetic, gents. Let me give you fully concrete port surface. Something I've been wanting to say for a long while. Superb. I really like that. Now our ports feel like ports, right? Seeing these guys move around. So they're taking that freight that's coming from the ships into our warehouses and our container yards. So returning back to our port upgrade menu, the rest of your port stuff unlocks simply by moving an amount of resources by port. See, so far we've shipped just over 2 million of the first 10 million required, and then you'll move through your milestones unlocking various different bits of infrastructure for your port. I'm quite interested in the train station, which I think is here, isn't it? Yes. Which is 50 million tons of goods transferred, which will be fine. That'll soon tick away. Let's put the game on 3 speed. Let's get that ticking over. We do also have a small bulk storage yard as well. Now, I'm definitely interested in the aesthetic of piled up sand, etc. So I wonder if we could possibly put these here, you know. They do fit perfect back to back. So yes, here's the answer to that. Let's see what we're doing with these. So they'll store metal, coal, stone, or concrete. I wish they had the concrete base. I do like the visual of a bulk port, but I'm not sure if I love the sand or the kind of grassy, muddy bottom. Maybe it's because it has the grass border. think we'll leave it in. If I'm not feeling it in the detailing time-lapse, I'll switch it out for shipping containers. But otherwise, we'll see. And then let's come to complete the rest of our port road infrastructure here. We also have that train line to factor in here as well. So I'm going to draw that up there as a reminder that train must come in. It should be really fun to see the trains and the boats in the port. And we'll also insert a nice level crossing in here as well for extra industrial dramatic effect. Fantastic. In Yoakley, we get to use one of the chunkier factories. The fuel plant is unlocked. Oh, and you know what? It'll very nearly fit port side as well. It's only this road that's... Oh, I didn't want to delete that. That's such a pain. I hope that draws back in okay, everyone. F in the chat if it doesn't. I think those nodes back a little bit, but I'm more than willing to do that. I'll do it off camera, don't worry. Won't make you watch me fight the snapping mechanics. How do we feel about that in here? I think factories also they just go so well with the ports, don't they? I'm really liking the visual of that actually. Very much so. On the other hand, they could also just bump the warehouses over and have the fuel plant next door. I think that's what we'll do. Just going to swap the fuel plant and the warehouses around. Oh, and would you look at that? It fits and sits. Absolutely. It was made to be, everyone. Yep, fully on board with that visual. That's a much better. I actually prefer the factory a bit closer to the gate as well, I think. It gives a bit more of a natural climb down in the build, doesn't it? So we'll also unlock things like emergency response, port security, employee canteens, passenger terminals and whatnot. Tons of other things. We also have some small tanks as well. Love the visual of tanks, but we'll wait for our resources to tick over. So I think we'll do another container crane. Yeah. And in the middle of this one as well. I think. Let them again back into the waterways. Cool. So 2 more routes moving around to another area. But otherwise, I think we'll just let the game run for a little bit now, let all these resources accrue. So we're already halfway through to our next milestone as well. In terms of what we'll add here, we'll definitely want the train station, of course. We brought that train line in for that. We might do a little bit of oil. I do like some silos, but I think I'll wait for the medium tank farms to bring that in rather than the small ones. But I will see you at 10 million tons of resources shipped. I'd also just like to take a minute while we wait for the resources to tick over the absolute insanity that is currently happening at the Yoakley Transport Hub. It's absolutely mental. Mental. Non-stop walking. All clustering through this little central plaza. So many of them. Oh my god. Nice to see some scory, isn't it? Platforms, nice and busy. All the platforms too, of course, because there's trains leaving to multiple different points in the map now. Which is very cool. Love to see a nice busy transit hub, right? So we've unlocked some new things. We now have a medium cargo container yard. Let's check this out, shall we? And looks like it might be able to fit and sit again. Almost in the middle. Perhaps also partnering with some small shipping container yards as well. Very nice. That'll all extend wonderfully well. Of course, with the services all around here. It is unfortunately giving us a very small amount of no car access there, which is a little bit annoying. That does help fix the problem, and I think I will just remove the pedestrian crossings there and also try and disguise it a little bit. Cool. Love that again. That's so nice, isn't it? Fantastic. We also unlocked our medium tank farms as well, which I really like to align near the entrance of the port. So I think we'll place one as close to the rail and the port gate as we can get it. Something about there. And then we'll grab our port road. Send it down. And then repeat this pattern to create the aesthetic of mass oil tanks, essentially. We could get that one in there. I wouldn't mind relocating the sewage plant for sure. It's not particularly crucial there. It can go just over here for right now. And then we'll repeat the tank farm here. We did also look at a medium cargo warehouse, which is quite chunky. Might perhaps another one of these in orbit of the other ones, but I think we'll wait for the... Definitely want to save room for the intermodal station as well, so I'll hold off on the medium until we get that train station so we see how much room it takes out. Well, that'll be the plan with that side of the port anyway. And we'll have these here, like that. We could also embellish with smaller ones, but that might look quite nice actually, almost like a little dedicated smaller area, perhaps using the smaller little one-way port roads. So if we did, let's say, something like this, and then we'll come back to our port upgrade. We'll grab small tank farm, and then we'll hammer a few of these in this little space, right? Let's also consider some car parking. This is a big port, a lot of employees, etc. Again, I think in terms of orientation, I'd love this right next to the main gate here. But in terms, we'll go multi-story. I wonder if multi-story is going to be at home in the port. I'm not sure if it's something you'd really find, to be honest. I don't ever recall seeing them in the years of inspiration we've had. Big shout out to the new road textures as well. Much nicer, isn't it? Much darker. Much more like tarmac. Really enjoying the aesthetic of the roads. This is the American theme one, of course. I don't hate it, you know. I don't hate the multi-story unit. We'll place one here. And then I think I'll even double it up as well, just to kind of give that chunky port infrastructure vibe, of course. And then we'll grab our port roads here, which I think I still want to use for the car parking. I'd also love, I think, to cross the roads over all around the port gate. We spoke about the power of a border before. And I think it certainly helps, doesn't it? Might even do it there as well. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Let's do that. I wouldn't even mind having some industrial zone in here. I don't know how that's going to play out though. And we'll try it and see what it looks like. We'll try a 4x4 one, see how we feel about it, get some servicing around it. In terms of services, there is a port security upgrade, which isn't unlocked for a little while yet. Same with the passenger terminal, but this isn't a passenger port. We'll build that. Maybe the other side, actually. I don't really have any particular plans for this. The interchange is a bit in the way of a harbour, but we can always terraform. Let me know if you'd like to see the passenger harbour this side of the water. It's the only choice for it, really, because that is the only place left in the water here, in this huge lake we have to play with. Yeah, port security pops at 60 million, so I'd quite like that in as well. I think I'd also like to experiment maybe with a fire station in here too. Some of the disaster warning stuff might look quite nicely actually. Let's jump into that node. Sorry, not the that one. We'll do our fire stuff. We've got plenty of development points to burn. I was wondering how the disaster building response one might actually look in the port. Not sure if it's perhaps a bit too alien. I don't mind it. The top of it is a bit eccentric, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think it's the place here. Not in the port. It's a bit too modern for it, I think. Fire service nonetheless though. In terms of which one we want to go for, I think the Japanese is the most industrial looking one, isn't it? Again, I wouldn't mind this tucked in alongside. So I think I'll just put the Japanese fire station next door. We could also add the helicopter upgrade to this. Garage extension and training facilities to increase the footprint. Which we will do. Likely have to push these back a touch once that train station comes in. But otherwise, I'll see you at the next resource milestone. And finally, we have the last of all our upgrades unlocked on the port stuff. So we're bringing the train station, which I'm hoping is going to slide in very faithfully just next door. It will also save a bit of room as well for that road to come back through. A bit more downsides here around the edge of the factory. I'd also like to add one of the smaller secondary gates here as well in a second. We'll plug this train station in with a bit of grading. We'll try and respect the train police where possible, of course. A little road guideline will help here too. There we go. Fantastic. So I did have to remove the 2 service assets here. But I think we'll find a new place for them in the detail time lapse. Let the port stuff stand first. We did also talk about a large cargo warehouse to a company here, but I don't think it's going to fit in the space we have. I wouldn't be averse to a medium though instead. Let's bring a road into boxing our train station. I'll take that right to the edge as well. And I think I'll put then a little space in of these tank farms and smaller roads to fill our final spaces. Let's also bring in our port security building. I'd love to find a place for this, I think right front and centre. Let's get a little look at this. Our little port police. The actual port police. This is now their base in Yoakley, of course. Oh. Then I also want the employee canteen as well. Which, let's get a little look at this building first. Kind of a little warehouse looking number, isn't it? But we can definitely make use of this. Fortunately, you can only place one of them, which is a bit of a shame. And then we also have the emergency response, which I think would look quite nice front and centre with the port gate, right? You can see that new roadway mechanic really kicking in around those lighter port roads, can't you? That's a big fan of these road texture changes. Make quite a big difference just to the visual, don't they? Especially here. Get a real impression of it there, don't you? Nice. Big fan of that. The port indeed is looking pretty fancy. Well, let's get stuck into the detailing and then we'll be right back. So just as we come to the end of our detailing, it has actually started snowing in Yoakley. So I thought I'd just take a minute to show you all what the Bridges and Ports DLC looks like in the winters. The cranes and the containers all get a light dusting on top. They do an immaculate job of keeping the roads clear, it has to be said to them. So yeah, all your buildings here all getting a nice little dusting of snow. As Yoakley's finished new port sits very splendidly in the skyline of downtown Benedict, doesn't it? Otherwise guys, I will leave it there. An enormous shout out to Paradox for sponsoring today's video. I'm a huge fan of the Bridges and Ports DLC. I always like the modularity expansion that the city's DLCs tend to run with. Campus being an example of that I just absolutely love. And there's so many different assets here. We've only really scratched the surface in today's port build. You can take them passenger orientated. There's oil and fishing, which we'll definitely explore in further episodes of Yoakley, because we do have quite a lot of coastline here. And now the Bridges and Ports DLC is here, I think we can have quite a lot of fun with the waterfronts all around the edge of the downtown here. But I'll shut up and leave it there. Let me know what you think of it. And if you'll be picking up the Bridges and Ports DLC, which don't forget releases on the 29th of October. Otherwise, enjoy the cinematic. Let's thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.